So that's talking ship for another year?
What?
Yeah, you got it. You can do that thing with Lexi. Talking weapons.
So I've just been informed that we have to do a bit of a timeshare agreement this year, so we have to throw it over to Alexi for Talking Weapons, which is an extremely original name.
Hey? Well, that was definitely not 4 ships, was it?
I think they said they were doing 4.
Yeah, that was not 4 ships, though, was it?
Come out in October.
Paladin, the Vandal,
Weapons
and the Shiv.
Essentially, the
Yeah.
weapons that does not have a manufacturer, the weapons that you can think of that were made by space pirates.
Gray sells whatever he can sell.
Sometimes he gets his hands on some weapons that come from unknown origins.
He will sell things that no company in their right mind would ever make.
These are the most kind of like scrappy and taped together and the most kind of like pyro-ish weapons that you can think of.
Right now we're releasing 3 new weapons. Rocket launcher, the LMG, and the long-awaited Space AK.
Oh, Space AK.
Oh,
This is the one that
Right,
probably
so I've
is the
reset it
most
going.
in demand, but I've been politely badgered
Right.
about the most.
I've
So
reset it
apologies.
basically
We're
fires
back.
energy and ballistic
But this time,
in
when I
sequence.
did it, I've
So your
reduced
first
the
shot
quality
will
thing,
be
so
your ballistic,
let's see how
the
it gets
second
on with
shot
that.
will be
Yeah.
the energy. You'll see
Yeah,
on
yeah.
the top of the art, there is a bolt
Okay.
that cycles the rounds, and that goes off with the ballistic shot, but it does not go off with the energy shot. And that is just like a really fun way of making a weapon work in kind of like a scrappy, glued together kind of aesthetic. The LMG, this thing is a really fun, slow-firing, hard-hitting beast.
It will bring the 50 cal, and the only other weapons that have this right now in the verse
Right,
are the
back away.
Barrack sniper rifle and the Coda.
Honestly, if you even get hit by one, you just instant tier 1 injury, back to medical.
Are you even trying anymore?
You know what? We made all these really complicated, fancy guns, and some people just want, I want a slow-firing rifle. Give me a scrap-together box that fires the biggest thing you can possibly find.
We don't have a rocket launcher of this caliber. It will be 3 grenades straight together that you pull into the tube and fire towards your enemies. The cool part about it will have an arming distance, so you won't be able to just point it towards an enemy.
It's also going to have a lot of spread. So essentially, you're going to have to get very close with your launcher to be able to blow up ships with a single payload in it. You can't actually aim with the apparatus because you've got the tube on your shoulder. And you try to aim it, you have to physically put the tube in your head. So we were like, oh, we can't have an aim apparatus for this. And then we realized like, it's in the spirit of being a tube that you can't use the aiming apparatus, and you just kind of like, all right, I think that's the middle of the screen. I'm going to hit it.
It's in the spirit of being a tube.
It's in the spirit of being a tube.
Tuba.
About binoculars. Binoculars are really cool. We don't have anything like this in the verse, and I think it will be really convenient to use something that's
Gadgets.
dedicated to look for the things, especially far away, instead of using your sniper scope, for example.
Will the binoculars have glint?
I'm not aware of this one. Probably not, because binoculars are not something that you need to be aware of.
It's really funny because obviously, due to glint gate, as I beautifully internally call it, basically there was a lot of community feedback basically saying like, oh, I really like spotting people. I really like playing a spotter. And essentially I was like, oh, this community wants to be able to spot people from distances. And what can we make gadget-wise that doesn't require new features? And it was like, binoculars. And I prototyped a thing which essentially was just a scope in a hand, and it worked. So we've got some really cool binoculars coming that allow you to spot people from distances.
Well, that's cool.
And how much damage do the binoculars do?
That sounds cool.
Depends on how you throw them.
Thanks, Alexi.
So that was a rocket
That's
launcher.
the end of this segment for this year, so that's Talking Ship. And
Space AK. What was the other one?
Anyone else is going to come
LMG.
and tell me something else?
Was LNG?
It's been an exciting year, and I think the next year of ships is going to be even more exciting and expansive than this year.
Hmm.
I want to see the ship silhouette. Are they doing that?
I don't know, but I'm a bit disappointed about the ship. Bit.
That is an eclectic bunch of combat ships for the verse, and they're all available right now up on the robertsspaceindustries.com store. Also, any minute now, there's going to be a PTU drop that includes all three, so you can fly them now ahead of their release next week when Alpha 432 goes live. 3 combat ships. I wonder if they'll have any additional uses coming up later in the show. That's a hint. All right, what else
The
can I
ship is
show?
not badly
there's
priced.
merch.
Actually. 123 at the moment.
Cool
Which one's that one?
That's the end one that you liked.
These are always popular.
The thrown together one.
That looks good as well, doesn't it?
Metal posters on the store, and of course, love
The
them
Stinger
or hate them, but you can't avoid them. There's this cool new Wickelow's Emporium T-shirt.
Stinger 264.
Oh, right.
There's also a page
Not
published
bad,
earlier
actually.
today with a bunch
So
of
the
links to
Chivvy's what, 100 and what?
third-party
102?
partners,
120.
From eye trackers to gaming chairs to voice packs.
And there's a PTU.
Stingers.
New partners
How
like
much?
Planet Ring and Pigeon Space.
Okay,
Sport.
so and the
All of that on the RSI website as well.
Stinger's what? 250?
123. The Stinger's, the Stinger's 264.
Challenge coins. Who doesn't love challenge coins? There's these lovely Levski themed challenge coins if you're attending one of the 9 official watch parties around the world. There's also a digital one of these in the goodies pack, so you check those out. Don't leave today without getting your Levski challenge coin. All right, what else can I shill? Now I'm kind of tired of shilling. All right, let's find out some more about where we are. Simon, can we move? Can we do? Oh, yeah. Look at that. Okay, here we go. Pardon me. Excuse me. Hi. How you doing? Hey, that was my best angle. Hey, I gotta be careful. Last year I took 3 steps and tore a muscle. All right, so this is the 9th floor of CIG Manchester's Manchester office. That's you. This is the room where we have lunch every day, and if you get here early enough, croissants, if the weapons team hasn't stolen all of them. Over here, we got some cool mannequins representing a different aspect of the game.
what?
We got the ever-present, Hurston security armor over here. That's really cool. You got your Dusters armor right here. You got this guy from a game that we're not talking about today. Marine armor, yeah, it's all pretty cool. And then when you come over here,
Darren already sounds out of breath from moving from that.
Already.
Test that kind of stuff. We got this cool Krigeri Bengal carrier.
Oh, Bengal.
Over here, shoot it.
Look at that.
Go down the nose here. Watch this. It's pretty cool. I'm gonna go over here. Can you see me?
Oh, wow.
Hi, Mom. All right.
Hi, Mom.
So yeah,
That's
and,
pretty cool, isn't it? Yeah.
What are you doing, Richard Towler? All right. I thought John went to Washington, D.C. Let's see, what else we got? We got cool Voyager bar here. This is where we get all kinds of breakfast goods.
That's what I call a workplace.
Hey,
No.
who remembers the big coffee controversy of 2016 where everybody took their Reddit
Pizza.
and pondered the question, do devs deserve coffee? I do. You want to see what next year's big controversy is? Check this out. I'm going to come over here. Do devs deserve coffee? Welcome to the Stargarita machine. Yeah.
I got a slush.
Do
Margarita
devs
sausage.
deserve frozen deliciousness?
Ooh.
I don't know. Go to Reddit and let us know. All right, let's see. Let's go over here. Competition. Oh, competition winners. We have the list of competition winners. Can we put that on the screen? Yeah, that's the one. Sorry, competition winners. Remember the competition for the CitizenCon winners? The people made the videos, and we gave them a Kruger L21 Wolf. We actually have the names. They're behind me. Look. All right, that's cool. Also, everybody's got food. Do I have food here? Oh, somebody's supposed to save me pizza. All right, so we got. Oh, you guys saved me a lot of pizza. Let's see. There's like 3 different kinds of pizza here. What if we just combine them into like a challenger situation here.
Nice.
CitizenCon throwback. if
That's
you're
what
not
it
familiar
is.
with. So I have now crafted my own pizza experience. And that is a terrible segue into our next segment. Gemma, can we, Gemma, are you there?
Yes, Darius.
Fire up the FPS crafting segment while I try to chew this off camera.
We sure can. Roll, BT.
Crafting.
Star Citizen, at its heart, will always be an enormous sandbox experience where you can set out to tackle the universe in whatever ways you want. But that doesn't mean we can't shape parts of the universe here and there to better suit our needs. That goes for both you and us. Let's start this part of the show with a look at how crafting is going to change everything from resource gathering, refining, and even combat when it comes online in the next few months.
The first version of crafting is going to be quite small in scale. We're going to use it as a kind of a concentrated effort to allow the players to experience the initial UI, the flow of gathering materials that have different quality, and using those to craft items which are better than what they have currently in the game.
The first version is going to be primarily FPS items that you can craft, weapons and armor. For Star Citizen, crafting is our primary progression mechanic. Star Citizen isn't your standard MMO. We don't have levels. We have ships, we have gear, we have things that you create in the world, you perfect, you research, you improve. And those items, those ships, those vehicles, the armor and
Dark Souls in the chat.
That's how you progress in Star Citizen.
Is he?
Crafting isn't just a progression mechanic for creating new items. It's also a fundamental change to how we handle resources in the game.
Ricardo is in
materials that you
chat
collect,
as well.
how you refine them, quality matters.
Crafting the weapons, you'll be able to have some quality materials to influence the item stats on those weapons.
It'll be somewhat random, potentially weighted on the location of the materials.
Slightly behind, guys, with this because my internet is dog
once
shit.
you take those materials to your
I'm having to use public internet from the pub.
You can use them to craft, and
which is below me. And I'm paying £8 for the fucking service too.
Materials you use.
For the day.
It's not just iron ore anymore. It's iron ore of the quality that you know will get you the stats for the item that you desire. And it's not just mining, it's essentially every resource we can get our hands on.
To support this, we also need major changes to inventory so that all of these new resources that you're collecting, you can see what you have, you can order it better, you can understand what you have in your inventory.
We won't have the new refining crafting system yet. We'll be using the existing ones. Those will pass the quality through into the refined materials, which you can then take to your crafting machine and start making your personal items. Once you have your blueprint and your quality materials that you've refined, then you can put them together on the item fabricator. This will be pretty much what we showed in last year's CitizenCon, with the UI letting you assign your quality resources to different aspects of the item. Once you're happy with what you see on the preview, you'll be able to click to craft and it'll get queued up and your result will be produced sometime later.
Sometime later.
You'll be able to get the new crafting machine from shops in most landing zones. You'll be able to bring it up on your freight elevator and use it in your personal hangar, or tractor beam it around and stick it on a ship if you want to use it from there.
There'll be a small amount of blueprints you get credited to your account just to test and mess around, but the vast majority of them will be earned through missions, and then you can use that blueprint to craft the item that it is that you've got the blueprint for. So it should be a good reason to go and test all the different various missions in the game.
The advantage of crafting your own items is that they'll be better than anything that you could buy from shops. You'll be able to increase and improve item stats that are relevant to your gameplay. Maybe a gun will shoot faster, maybe it'll do some more damage, or your armor will have greater resistances against environmental effects or incoming fire. You might be wondering, what about the
Fire.
upgrade and
Fire.
research? That will be coming in the subsequent release. We're happy with this initial scope for crafting.
It's going to be so valuable for us as devs to kind of get the metrics in, get the feedback in, because then we can make the changes that, you know, they only become obvious, so to speak, when you have kind of mass amounts of data and mass amounts of users using it. So I'm very excited to get it out in the wild.
It's our intention to get crafting out on
In the
temporary
wild.
by the end of the year and get the testing we need so we can release it when it's ready.
So that's one way you'll be crafting your own experiences in the Star Citizen universe. But what about us? Where do we get to hone in and craft a bespoke experience here and there, specifically tailored to individual or small group play? Well, that's where instancing comes in. And I'm going to let Benji tell you a little bit more.
Benji.
We're bringing instancing to Star Citizen in 2026. Why are we doing it, and how will it work? So if you've played any content in 2025 in Star Citizen, you know that most of these areas were in actual PvP zones where other players could interfere. Instancing is a means to create an environment where designers can create tailored content that's tuned to a specific
When
group
we talk
size,
about that, Dan?
that is also
This week?
This is what I'm
outside
interested in.
interference. It's not to say that we don't love PvP. I'm a PvP guy.
I'm a
PvP
PvP
me,
guy.
bro.
I'm a
PvP, bro.
PvP
But
guy.
most MMOs, a good balance
For the
between
win.
dangerous overworld and a protected instances is needed. Right now, we don't have this ability, and this is something we really need. In
I think
order
that's
to
quite a
give
good
you sense
idea
of
though, because
progression
it gives you the best of both
that is
worlds.
Tailored and balanced to a tunable amount of groups, so the difficulty matches the group
does.
size.
I was looking at his t-shirt,
There's a beginning and an
TDK.
end. It doesn't mean that that doesn't fit in
Old
our
school.
overworld strategy, meaning getting to the instance is dangerous, exiting the instance is dangerous, or can be interfered with others. But at least when you're playing the content, we can actually make something that's curated for one experience. So before anybody says this is only a PvE thing, this technology can also be applied to unlock curated PvP experiences that are as seamless as the PvE ones. So it's not about one thing or the other, it's really about unlocking developers' ability to create curated content. So that said, how will it work? Instancing is really an evolution over static to dynamic meshing. We want your instances to be as seamless as your instance hangers, meaning that when you take an elevator, you exit the elevator, you're inside the instance. A gateway opens, you cross that gateway, you're now into your instances. Could be also a quantum jump into an instance that you don't even see. The transition is just like a dynamic mesh transition. And so throughout the universe, we will be able to add these areas that are open or closed instances that allow you to join in either with a party and have a reserved instance for your party, or join an open instances that has a number of slots. And so some of those areas will be completely instanced on different servers. This allows us to leverage the compute power of the entire mesh. The closed ones will be really to drive one piece of content. You enter and exit seamlessly, just like we do with your instance hangers currently. Let's go and find out what one of our first instances will be.
Siege of Arzen was an event we did previously, which created a
I loved
gameplay
that.
scenario where the player had to run
I,
through
when we
and
did
progress
one,
through
I really enjoyed it,
islands of Arzen.
but
This
we
was a
just never
high-paced,
seemed to get round to doing it again.
But
I
it's
did it
struggled
with
a little bit
with Dark
technical
and
execution. But now with the introduction of
Join
instancing,
Pin, and we
it
got
gives
all the way
us
to
an
the end, to the
opportunity
to the last
evolve
ship,
it
and they
and
put me in charge
modify
of flying
and
it.
make it better for you and a
That's to say
small
we didn't
group.
see the end.
That's like putting me in charge.
It is an event that I had the honour of pretty much solely designing and building all of the logic and having the stress of trying to get it working.
Agent Dooley from the CDF puts the call out for volunteers because basically the Nine Tails have taken over sort of a cluster of floating platforms in Orison.
And you are there to kill these sort of lieutenants of this terrorist organization and take back control. So in our current thinking, Siege of Orison is designed for about a 15 to 20 people fire team. So you, your friends, or your org will go in, you'll all have sort of dedicated roles. Some of you might be the tank who brings in the heavy weapons and sort of pulls the fire. Some of you might sit at the back and be the sniper and pick people off who are a bit further to make the advance easier. Some of you will be the medic who sole job is going to be revive and look after the rest of
That
the
ain't
team
be
and the
me.
health of them. And some of you will be the people who
The
push
medic that's got no
objectives to try and get
medipens.
to most of the missions.
Great.
The event was designed for about 15 to 30 people, but when we released it, we fixed the problem
Wow.
with 2 DGSs on one server that was fighting for resources, and with that we also upped the player count to 100, so when it first debuted it was already too full for what it was designed for.
It was a massive operation at the time. I think that bringing it back and giving it a refresher will be a fantastic addition back into the PU.
So imagine if Siege was a instance that you could go in and play solo, or if it was a public event that you could go with your friends, or you could join up with random players on the server. There's lots of ways that we want to take a look at Siege, how we can make it a more approachable piece of content.
I'm excited to say the
interesting.
least to bring back Siege of Orison to Star Citizen and to sort
Yeah,
of
it's one of the
have
ones I
it
did
be one
like,
of the
Siege of
first
Orison, when I
tests
was
that
over
we
there.
have for instancing and really
Yeah,
get it
no
back to
doubt you
sort
get-
of a core experience
Get all
where
the
it should be.
chatter and chat
So
about
while,
not doing
the next
this and
season is quite heavily focused on
like
Nyx,
rubbish.
I'm also very happy that we're not really ignoring our other 2 systems of Standard and Pyro, and we're going back there and we're sort of improving and expanding on the player's life in those 2 systems as well.
Yes,
poo,
and while
poo.
things like Genesis,
Pew, pew, pew.
interstellar hauling, crafting, Siege of Orison, and more will reveal next year, will continue to bring life into the existing universe outside of Nyx. There's still one more exciting use for instancing we're building right now. It's an earlier look than normal, and some of it is still in white box, but we're excited to share the first look at a major content release of 2026, and what it means for progression-based gameplay. As an evolution of our Building Interior initiative, you won't discover it by accident, because when it's complete, it will be found deep within the heart of Levski itself. This is the Municipal Works. So inside the facility, you'll find huge vaporization chambers, old processing plants,
Wow.
industrial tunnels, and eventually into the old turbines which are still pumping heat into the old rock.
So this is the true history of Levski. This is a place where you won't see in Lorville, you won't see in I-18 or the other landing zone. It's the pure basis of Levski. You will have, of course, metal and tunnels and more structural place, but you will also see a lot of rock and cave. So it's not a place you go to take vacation. It's really a place you go to fix stuff.
Not everybody has what it takes to come down there and do the job that needs to be done.
Frank
All of your
Yang
sewage systems have stopped
has
working.
asked, do you think it'd be possible
Everything's
to buy
going
the other superior
quite
ships
literally.
after they're live?
And so the player is tasked with their group, most likely, to go into their
Maybe on the impound.
and get the facility back.
Maybe on the impound.
So let me get
We
this
got
straight.
caught in our
This is literally
description.
A mission to fix the toilets of Levski.
It's not just the toilets. They're also trying to turn on the air. Air is a bit more important. It still works in Levski, but they have maybe polluted air because it's not being cleared properly. It's not just for the toilet.
Poop mission.
It's also a little bit more exciting than just going into some
Poop
vents.
mission.
It's like a free-layered system where there's free chapters.
This will be mission-driven and repeatable.
That'd be cool.
Everything from mining to salvage to combat to investigation, a variety of roles. Narrative
That would be
is a
good,
real
actually,
science.
for
Every progression you do
a couple of people,
on a new
2 or
area
3 people to
will
do.
link back to previous areas, complexifying the play space.
We've been wanting to have more gameplay around landing zones for a long time. Now that we have instancing tech coming online, that allows us to do something that provides really cool gameplay close to a landing zone.
With the missions, that's what will create different overlays or change the spaces or change the progression, but it'll be the instancing which will enable us to create tailored content to you and your group. So you're going to be able to play a part of it, make your progress, and then log off. And then the next time you come online, you'll be able to pick up where you left off.
It's going to allow players to
That's cool.
return back to it at different states, depending on how much you've progressed, and be able to keep it going until you've reached sort of the end of the whole 3 chapters.
Where you're not going to have other people getting in your way.
That is
you,
cool.
your team, your party.
It's a way of giving players content where they know exactly where they're at and they can keep going back to it and improving sort of their own progress and ability to jump through them in faster and faster times as well.
So that's a look at how we'll be allowing players and developers alike to create more crafted experiences within the greater sandbox of the persistent universe. Okay, is that it for me at this point, Jared?
Almost.
That looks good.
Throw it back to me, and I've got one more for you after this.
Back to you, Jared.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's building. That's the big
It
one.
is building, isn't it?
Building.
Yeah.
Everybody's really excited
agree
about
with
the year
Doc.
ahead. So that's a brief look at some of the ways in which we're allowing you and our developers to craft a more curated Star Citizen experience.
I don't think they're talking about Squadron 42 in this.
Home stretch. We've got only one more segment to go. But before we do that, we wanted to check out. We said earlier in the show that we would look at what you were saying during the show. We looked at how to put YouTube comments on the stream, and it was immediately apparent that we were going to lose our broadcast license. So we're not going to do that.
What
we did
idiots.
find some social media stuff on Twitch, though, or not Twitter, X. What is it called now? Let's see what this says. Let's see.
I missed that. Was that?
Welcome back, Levski. From
He said he wanted to put the comments from the YouTube on the stream, but they found out at the end the stream would be taken off within seconds.
I really should have worn my glasses. Do the bagpipes. That's the
Yeah.
Charlie Oscar.
We've had that before.
Let's see. Nice.
Literally, I was like, "Don't swear within 7 seconds." Or something. Well, shit.
Yeah.
Let's see. First Citizen I've played for almost a decade
Damn it.
in Austin. Oh, nice. Straight out of Klesher, back to the Hex. Photos from Leicestershire. How do you say it? Is that Leicestershire? Leicester? Leicester? I've only been in the UK for 3.5 years. At San Jose Bar Citizen Watch Party. Oh, somebody created a lovely Vandal mask there. Sean Tracy.
Base building.
Just that, exactly. Just scan that, put that in game. All right, so that's a few reactions we're seeing on social media right now. Before we get to our big finale, or the thing we're going to wrap up the show with today, I did want to talk a little bit about big CitizenCon versus digital CitizenCon versus what we're doing today, which is CitizenCon Direct. Every year, CitizenCon is a monumental task for any number of people, whether that's development, marketing, the support teams, the platform teams. Everybody comes together to make this thing happen and go off, hopefully without a hitch. And so far, we've been doing all right, other than some stuff in the room here. You know who you are. They had to know. But doing CitizenCon is not always the easiest thing for our developers. You might not assume this, but most game developers are not social butterflies. They tend to like to sit quietly in the dark at their computers, like little goblins, and just make digital virtual worlds like this. And then I come in all happy and like, hey, you want to be on video? And they're like, no. And I'm like, it's in your contract. And they're like, oh yeah. So we thought, we usually do it behind the scenes afterwards, but we thought we'd do a little bit of it here. The folks in the
Is that OBS there in the middle?
a brief montage of some of the more candid moments from the filming of CitizenCon over the last couple of weeks. So we're going to spend 2 minutes and take a look at that. Let's see what they put together.
How many citizens?
The free version.
Formed? Just the one. Nope, my first one.
One last year.
2.
A few.
8 or 9?
Maybe 9 or 10?
Never.
Man, I don't know, man.
Did you like doing it?
Yes, I was completely terrified.
It was good. A bit stressful.
The first live one, I was a mess.
Weird combination of going from insane highs to insane lows.
Live ones.
Because
it's over.
The live ones are pretty special.
Pre-samp's always fun, but the live events are special, aren't they?
So they're going to do a live next year.
That weird crack house in
yeah.
in Angers.
What will that be though?
I like the live ones. Oh, I mean, I love these digital ones. These are the best.
Every time I've done it, it has been a digital one, and I'd like to do one on stage.
Is it because you have a restraining order against you, or?
No, if I was going to be sick, if I was going to lose my stomach.
How hard is it to keep your eyes open on stage?
That's not a problem with the lights. They're kind of, I'm realizing through this sentence that I'm closing my eyes as I speak. Do I do that a lot?
I am a very shy individual, so this is me just trying to get out of my shell.
Getting the crowd to react to the ideas that we've been working on for so long.
We can react. Watch. Everybody. Yay!
I can feel your passion from it.
Cut the camera.
Jimmy Somerville.
Counting you down in like, you've got 30 seconds. I'm like, do I stand up? Do I sit down? Do I drink? Do I not? Do I talk?
This will be the best one yet. That's right. Because it's nice and short.
Is this all supposed to be usable content? Because I could be different.
No. Of all your nicknames, why is Moist Master your favorite?
I think you mean least favorite, and because it has the word moist in it. I mean, come on.
We'll give you a new nickname by the end of this.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Could do
All
with
right,
one.
let's get started.
So for those of you watching at home or at the watch party,
Yeah, it's definitely ODS.
I put that in there because I'm eternally grateful for all of the CIG staff and developers who take the time to appear on these things, whether it's ISE, SCL, CitizenCon, walk on stage, be pre-recorded. It's not the easiest thing for everybody. And on behalf of the community, if I can speak for them in this regard, I want to say thank you for participating in these things each and every year that we have them. Now, let's wrap things up here. So, let's see, how do I want to do this? At this point, we've only got one major story left to tell. But before we do that, we wanted to do one more check-in on something we started last year. Last year, Rich Tyler took the stage and presented his roadmap to 1.0. And we didn't want to go an entire year without talking to the senior game director himself to get his update on that 1 year later. So we're going to throw it to him, and we're going to go to our last segment, and when we come back, we'll say our goodbyes. And if you're at a watch party, it's time to get... I was going to say... that's not a word I can say on the camera. Let's just go. Let's just throw it back to me. Go to me from 1 week ago.
He's quite good at this this sort of stuff, isn't he, Jared?
Last year, Senior Game Director Rich Tyler took to the stage and revealed our plan for 1.0. Now, before we end this year's CitizenCon Direct, we wanted to take a few moments and follow up on that reveal from last year, to do as we've done today and look at the year ahead. So, Rich, thanks for taking the time to join us.
Well, you're welcome.
All right, so we're going to jump right into it. Everybody knows the only constant in game development is change. So I'm going to ask you outright, what's changed about the road to 1.0?
Well, fortunately nothing. It still remains our North Star. The team is busy working towards that goal in the background, and every patch this year has moved us towards that goal. And if you haven't watched the Star Citizen 1.0 presentation from last year, I highly recommend you do so, because everything in it is still relevant as of today.
You mentioned every patch this year has moved us towards that goal, so I want to dig deeper into that. We've done, at this point, 9 releases in this year, more than any year prior. How does each one of these not just sit as their own moment in time, but move us forward on this road to 1.0?
Well, last year I discussed the framework of 1.0, how all those complex systems can tie together. And one of the core aspects of that was the main story, which became the spine of the universe, which brought all of the locations, mission givers, guilds, and all the different areas of the game to the players. Now, what I didn't talk about from last year was all of the content that was going to support that framework, add the flesh to the bones, should we say. And I think that's where this year has moved us towards that goal. If you think about previous events of previous years, they've generally been locations that we've put into the verse, but they've been transient. We've taken them away, like Siege of Orison or Zenithreat. We've added them to game, and then they've been moved away. And I think with the addition of the patches this year, when you look at the Hathor facilities, Onyx facility, these are permanent additions to the world that not only have their own story, as when we release them with the patches, but they'll also become points of interest and areas that the larger 1.0 narrative will utilize.
Since we're on story, I'm gonna stay with this here. Since we launched the PU back in 2015, it's always been this sandbox where players can do what they want. They can bring their own story to the verse, and that'll never change. But how important is it that we also build this concurrent narrative of our own, this crafted experience, if you will, alongside that?
Well, we're trying to create a living, breathing universe. And that includes both the player stories that you mentioned, that they can go and enjoy and create their own memories together. But it also means that we want to have a universe that gives back. We want areas and locations to feel like
they got
life locations.
the Toby Eye tracker on the RSI store.
Over there?
We've had an overarching story.
Oh, it's 15%
that's
off at the moment, isn't
from
it?
patch to patch, and we're going through
I
those,
don't
some of
even
those
use it.
cycles right now.
When's the last time you used yours?
I haven't, because it's not set up on my system, because I'm in this 10th place.
And facial animation, which allows us to
I've not got it
inject
set
some
up
of
at
the
all.
meaning and the why.
I haven't got
to
my full
what we're
desk
doing
set
as a
up or
player.
anything.
And
Just
I think
a small
story
desk.
is integral to Star Citizen as a connective tissue that ties all of these different complex systems together, because it takes players on that journey throughout the game.
To see this big turn this year to start injecting story into the verse, I think people are really responding to it. So everybody knows, and you mentioned just now, that this year we changed a whole lot about how we operate.
I hope it
and
is.
how we release things. How do you think that's gone?
I think it's gone very well.
I hope it is next year.
I think if the mantra that I've always been pushing this year at the beginning of January was patch always goes.
I'm really
and I
looking
think
forward
this
to
year has seen a different development strategy for how we've been moving the game forward. That's where this different strategy has allowed us to really take a wider approach. And we also have to remember that Star Citizen is played by tens of thousands of players every day. And while we have lofty future goals, we still have to make decisions right now that make the game fun for the people that are playing it all the time, playing it as their daily game. If you look at previous years, we've had to hold a patch back, we've had to make concessions, mainly due to around a feature may not been ready or right to go into there.
There were 3 months, 4 months, sometimes 5 months between patches.
Exactly, and I don't think that's good for anybody. I don't think it's good for the players. I don't think it's good for the development team. I think it's better to have regular cadence of drops. One good example is this year for A Line of Mine. People probably don't know, but A Line of Mine, when you turned on the laser, it was actually supposed to reveal the sandworm Valakar. And I played it, and it didn't hit the quality that I wanted to go into the game. So we changed, and I took it out, and I made that decision alongside Chris and Erin, and we've held that back, and we're going to work on that towards a future patch. But I think definitely the more regular cadences has had the multiple benefits, and like I said, I want to dispel a myth right here, right now. Like, features are still being worked on quite heavily in the background, from radar and scanning in FPS, the new quantum, to inventory, engineering, and crafting, and all of those features are going to be coming very, very soon for players to get their hands on. And, you know, I'm going to be honest, I'm not going to sit here and say that if I was to go back to the start of the year, I would hope that we would have released more features. But I also think every decision we've made this year has been through the lens of making the live experience as stable and as good as possible.
Absolutely. All right, so that's a bit about the year before. And the year before has been, I've said this before, I've said it internally, I've said it out there, I'm going to say it right now again on camera. I think this has been the best year of Star Citizen ever.
It's been intense.
Look right into the camera.
It's been ups and downs as
Player
well.
Numbers are up, engagement numbers are up, the length of the play sessions are up, bug numbers are down, 30K is gone. It's been a solid year. But CitizenCon isn't CitizenCon without talking about the future.
I remember them days, 30K, remember?
30Ks, yeah.
About this more
with our box running, trying to do our box session.
That was literally every game session got a 30K.
But what more are we going to do to make this universe seem alive and real and breathing?
I think the biggest thing is to start having that conversation be two-way. So if you think about this year, like you mentioned, we've been having fully voiced NPCs, but a lot of those missions and those NPCs, they're talking to you, they're talking at you. Right. You don't get to talk back to them. Now, obviously, you get to interact with them through your actions. You get to go and do their mission, and you get to move that along, and then they talk to you again. But it's a one-way conversation.
We're missing that conversation wheel.
Exactly. The next part would be physical mission givers. That's something that we're going to be working towards very soon, with Battaglia being the first one.
NPCs, that'd be really good.
And just to be clear, we will be bringing all the mission givers eventually back, and we want them to be an integral part of
Proper
the
NPCs.
story that players go and enjoy. We want the locations to be brought to
Always
life.
standing on chairs.
Yeah.
We want to
Or
have
halfway through the floor.
interactive scenes that you
We had
can
a lot of that, didn't
do.
we?
And obviously the full
Early
end goal is towards, you know, to have cinematic story.
Yeah.
And that is what we're going to be pushing towards. Everything we do, every decision we make is through the lens of moving us closer to 1.0. It might sometimes be difficult to see why those decisions have been made at the time they've been made. But rest assured that Star Citizen 1.0 is still our North Star. That's what we're still aiming towards. And that's what we're going to be moving forward with every patch next year as well.
And remembering when mission givers were first introduced, they sometimes became a bottleneck. Is there a role in instancing, which we learned about earlier today? Is there a role for instancing in that, in helping with mission givers?
Yes, partially. It will be one mechanism that will allow us to have players go to their own individual area of the verse, have that conversation, and then go and continue on into the open world environment. So I think that's where, when we look at instancing provides us one tool that allows us to remove that bottleneck and provide a more seamless experience.
Happy you said that, because that's one of our last topics I want to get to, is how we reconcile instancing with the persistent universe. Like, for the last 10 years now, we've been building this giant, seamless, persistent universe where everybody can come in and play together.
Dark Souls said he would use an eye tracker while watching Palm.
To have a first instinct reaction to the idea of instancing and say that's antithetical to everything that Star Citizen is. But you mentioned last year these 3 pillars of building Star Citizen in the PU, and I want to know, you said nothing changed, but I want to ask you about this specifically. What are those 3 pillars again, and how does instancing fit within the greater design of Star Citizen?
So the 3 pillars I mentioned last year were open world. That's just like the missions you love today. You can go and play, there's other players there, and you can go and enjoy that together. Then we have instancing, which I'll talk about more, but similar to municipal works that we've talked about previously. And then the 3rd pillar was dynamic content, which would be content that's generated by the activities of the players. And I think it's very easy to become myopic around one specific thing when we're talking about it a lot, when it's the next stage of our development. And I think you could reverse it. If we'd have made a game that was all instance, and then I'd come on camera and said, hey guys, we're going to start doing it open world, it would be like, oh, is the game changing? Are we doing open world now? Is open world the new you know, North Star that's going to take us this way? And it's not. It's just one more tool that's going to allow us to offer different and dynamic experiences for players to go and engage in. Now, when I talk about instancing, instancing isn't always what you'd imagine as a solo instance experience where it's only just you. We're going to have several different versions of instances. Some are going to be closed instances, which will be like the new player experience. We'll be able for you to go in by yourself, for us to teach you the ropes in a safe environment so that you can understand how to play the complex game that we've made. But we'll also have open instances, like a cantina or a bar, where we might say, hey, we only want 50 people to come in here because we've got mission givers and we've got other NPCs for you to talk to, and you would just walk in and it would be seamless. You wouldn't know that there was an instance, you're not going to get a loading screen, you would just seamlessly walk into that location, it would be full of other players and NPCs, and you can go and enjoy the content. And that's, I think, something that instancing is going to provide us. It's going to give us a tool to offer different dynamic content, or curated content, as I'd say. It allows us to create experiences that are different to the open world experiences that we've already made. And it's not to say that we won't continue our open world development or only do instance content. It's going to be a mix. And like I said, this is one of the pillars that will move us towards 1.0. We will eventually work on dynamic content that will move us forward to 1.0. And all three of those pillars will interweave to create the full Star Citizen experience.
So they have said that the Percy is going to be released October, haven't they? I'm sure they said that, didn't they?
It's
Was it November?
Stuff like this.
Likely to be
talking
IA.
about instancing and how that's going to work within the universe.
Which is,
But
yeah,
I
next
want to
month.
ask you this one last big one. It's very easy to say Star Citizen is this kind of game and that kind of game. Those of us who
massively
spend our
changed
days
in a
making it
year,
know
though.
better. It's an everything.
Oh,
It's
it's been
everything.
changed since we started playing it in, what, 3 years
At the
ago?
core of this is still spaceships. You know, that life of
Yeah, I mean, 3 years ago it was
What more can you tell us about spaceships?
unrecognisable to what it is now.
What can you give us? What can you tee up for us to look forward to for those of us who are really into Star Citizen for the spaceships?
Our intentions going forward are to make sure that every ship or ship archetype that you acquire has a role and has content that you can go and enjoy in the universe. For example, right now I know that we're working on more robust mining missions, more robust salvage missions. We're going to be working on refueling missions. And we want to make sure that each and every one of the ship has a purpose and has a reason to exist in the game. That's from the smallest Argo MPUV, as well as ground vehicles.
You need to get rid of the Prowler then,
all the
mate.
way up to the large capital ships.
Because that has no
We want to
fucking
give
use.
them purpose. And I think it's something that we are absolutely aware of. We want to make sure that we're building that spectrum of content to allow players to go and engage in. And I think 2026 is going to be a very good year for Star Citizen.
It's going to be a monster year, I think.
Very interesting and something that a lot of people have been waiting for. But rather than me spoil it, I'll let Ian and the team go into the details on that.
Yeah, twinkle in his eye. Ian, take it away.
Space for spaceships.
So the persistent universe has existed for over 10 years now. During that time, we've created lots of gameplay systems, we've added hundreds of locations, we've added lots of mission activities for different purposes: combat, cargo, mining, salvaging. But for combat ships, the only thing you've been able to do is fight other combat ships. In 2026, this changes. We're going to be delivering a spaceship-focused activity space which incentivizes the use of different gameplay roles. These are going to be scenarios where you're going to have to plan and strategize and create operational tactics to overcome your objective. So what you're going to see is very early. It's early in the pipeline process, and it's going to come online about mid next year. But we're really excited about the content we're creating, so we want to share with you a super early look at what we're building in a space we're calling Tactical Strike Groups.
Okay.
This looks like almost like a
People's
single
Alliance
player.
are still trying to get to the bottom of what this new faction is really
Yeah.
doing in the Nyx system.
They've sent a capital ship to check out a station and run into more than they can take care of themselves.
Yeah, it's like Squadron 42.
Came under attack, and members of
Squadron 43, maybe.
Now they've
That's
reached out to
Squadron 41.
Intersec, who reached out to you.
Yeah.
Before Squadron 42.
Of course, it's unwise to do this alone, so you'll need to put a team together to attack the station.
When you arrive, you will have this big asteroid, kind of broken asteroid, and on this you will have this space where you will find three big arms. You will see in the middle, you will have this big energy core. Everything here has a purpose. It's not just for the show, just something nice to see.
You'll see a People's Alliance owned Idris that's just on the outside, and it's going to be getting harassed by this unknown faction that you have met before.
They're not unknown then.
Looks a bit more like harassment.
Is to clear out the ships. There'll be waves of these ships. So
That's what they're doing, aren't they? Stop people complaining about griefing. They're bringing griefing in. Griefing missions.
Yeah. Grief. You too can be a griefer.
So while one part of your group is dealing with the fighters, now it's time to actually assault
Yeah, I
the
agree,
station.
Jack. All these one-off missions.
This station has been outfitted to resist all of the obvious way of attacks.
Somehow they've incorporated Vanduul capital ship killing turrets. These turrets ignore small fighters, and they have the firepower to destroy even the biggest capital ships.
Your Polaris and your Idris, if you get it close, it will get shredded. The idea of these is so we can sort of make it so we can mix up that ship combat, and not everyone can just bring the biggest ship.
Control.
Just because they have the biggest ship.
Yeah.
That's all about, isn't it?
You have to send out your best pilots to navigate the superstructure.
That'd be me and you, Melix.
We're fucked then.
Anything.
Look, those two idiots have actually crashed into each other. It'd be like watching McLaren, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Piastri and Norris.
This turret has shields that you've never seen before. It won't take any kind of damage. Your missiles won't do anything, your lasers won't do anything, your ballistics won't do anything to them. But like everything, they do have a weakness. You have to cut the power to their shields. To do that, that actually brings you to your first objective.
That's a familiar story, isn't it? I'm trying to think what that one is.
So the exterior has
Yeah, something about taking out the shields. I'm just trying to think of the
You have to target them.
storyline.
But it may not be as easy as it seems.
Here's our first wrinkle. The power relays have their own shields that are resistant to energy-based attacks.
We know how much you like using laser repeaters, but so do these guys.
capital ship can't get close enough because of the turrets.
So ships with explosive or ballistic ordnance will be needed here. That's torpedo ships like your Retaliator or Gladiator.
It's a good idea.
Or even another fighter with ballistics
in its
loadout.
theory, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's going to be limiting. It's going to be limiting though if you haven't got that capability.
Yeah.
If you haven't got missiles or bombs or whatever, then I think you're going to struggle.
It's just the way you're going to have to buy multiple ships.
Yeah.
Your ship inside
More money.
Yeah.
You're going to need to own a
From the impound. From the impound.
From the impound.
I feel like
Link in the description.
that moment.
Yeah. 3% off. Yeah. Trench run. Yeah.
So as you enter the structure, you'll see cooling units along the sides that you'll need to take out. There's 3 arms to the station that have these trenches. You'll fly into one, and then there'll be a core in the center, and then you'll move out another trench.
Yeah, I just can't think of what storyline I'm thinking of.
At this point, the core is still protected, so these are essentially strafing runs.
There are objects to avoid. You're going to have to be able to dodge. You're going to have to move quickly. You need an agile ship.
That ain't gonna be me then. Move quickly. Agile ship.
So once the cooling units are out, that exposes
That's me. Suicide run.
From the inside and also from exhaust ports on the outside of the station. This core is armored and just takes a whole lot of damage. Once the power core goes down, the turrets come down, and then the capital ships can get closer. Why is that important? Because during all of this, you spend a lot of ammo and munitions and ballistics, and you're going to want to top up.
This is where we're going to get our new feature in. Ship hangar refueling and rearming. You're going to be able to land in the hangar of select ships and be able to use the same interface as you are right now at stations to refuel and rearm.
It's specifically for ships like the Idris and the Polaris and other ships that are designed to have other ships land inside them.
Of course,
So they, I guess they're medi-bays and stuff. Medi-ships maybe.
But this is a really important feature that we're really excited to get out.
Especially got to go and board it.
The People's Alliance has a
The
that
station.
provide a safe port in a storm, allow you to set back up and head back out.
And it's a good thing that you've rearmed and refueled too, because now another group of ships is coming to attack the People's Alliance Idris. So while the fighters are protecting the Idris, what's happening at the station? Well, that's where the dropships come in.
Now you've got to take a
Dropships.
You've got to land. You've got to fight through an
Oh,
onslaught
so the Prowler
of
now
FPS
has a
enemies
use.
that belong to this
Yeah.
faction, and you've got to open a hangar door which
They've
will
created
allow
this
to
mission
release
just so the
captives
Prowler has a
from the
use.
station. After you've opened the doors and that person's taken
Was that a
off,
paladin
you've got to
then
make
coming
sure
in?
they get to safety.
Yep.
So at this point, all of this sounds pretty simple, but there's an additional complication.
So up until this point, it's just been you versus the enemies in the station. But the enemies in the station have their own enemies.
The Vandal neighbors who really don't like these guys for some
Vandal.
reason and wreak havoc on everything.
And they're not going to discriminate between you and the station. They're out for blood. When you alert the Vandal by destroying the power core that the station's now vulnerable, you're on a time limit. Vandal are coming, they're going to come hard, they're going to keep coming, you're going to have one hell of a fight.
Vandals come out to play. You need to shave.
Vandal capitals?
Squadron 41.
Squadron 41. Look at that bad boy.
Squadron 4.1.
Maybe they're abandoning 42. That work.
Strike groups. And personally,
How excited would you have been if that was a merchantman coming out of the clouds there?
I wouldn't have believed it. I wouldn't have believed it.
Personally, driving a more vehicle-based experience is very important to me. This is a defining statement that I want to do in 2026.
I'm so glad we can use all our ground vehicles for this. I'm sure the tanks and all that, they'll be very useful for these.
Yeah. But you could probably just shove them out the back of your ship, couldn't they?
Create scenarios and roles for you to use those spaceships. We won't get to all roles initially, but we should see this as a landmark, a position where we can see a gameplay space which incentivizes.
This mission would be great in the Perseus.
Clear objectives.
Dark said
Yeah.
I wouldn't make it to the point of landing into the ship because I'd have forgot my helmet by then.
In the future, we can
Nice.
So I hope you're all just as excited as I am for tactical strike groups. They're gonna be fantastic.
Wow. It's almost like they're bringing in Squadron 42 into Star Citizen.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Okay.
Perseus, come on.
Why do you still have the puppet? John, come home. All right, so tactical strike groups. You know, it's been a long road for the last 10 years. The PU's been around. We've done lots to build stuff for mining ships and for salvage ships. And as Rich said, we're currently building out even more for those. And our first refueling missions coming online in 2026. But combat missions. Oh, hi, Aaron Roberts. But finally having enough of the foundation in place that we can begin to build real spaceship operations.
Sorry, I saw his running back.
In any other MMO they call them dungeons. It's really exciting for me, and that's why we're ending the show this year with that. So yeah, that's been CitizenCon Direct. Thank you for taking the time to share this